AP, I got a question real quick.
Yes, sir.
I'm not being funny. Do you like big girls?
No, not really.
So if your soulmate or that one person was a big girl,
She wouldn't be for me. It wouldn't be that person. Did
you see why I don't
did-
believe in soulmates?
I agree. No, I agree. I think that there are people. I think so. I would have to agree with AP.
Mhm.
I think that there are people that perfectly work for you. You know, I can't name all of my friends are married besides me and another one. Okay, and I can't envision myself with being with any of their husbands, but they are perfect for their husbands. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure, you know, I've met men, a lot of married men who are perfect husbands for their wives. So you have to find a person who is perfect for you. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
You have to find the person who is perfect for you. Because what may work for Mistaken may not work for me. What may work for Inaz may not work for me.
So the reason I say that is because when people say their soulmate, I'd be like, your soulmate could be a felon.
Well, I don't say soulmate.
I'm just saying, like, I'm on the same thing. It's like your soulmate could be a felon. Your soulmate could be somebody you don't find to be attractive. That your soulmate could be a white guy. Tell that to a bunch of black women. They're gonna be like, oh hell no. Yes, you know. So that I don't believe in soulmates. What I believe you might be seeing, Shan, is just like I think me, Inaz, and Mistaken said. You see people that are willing to make the choice every single day. That's it. Like literally, they are glowing over the life they built with that person. We don't get to see. We don't get to see the behind the scenes, especially like that's why it's funny about married couples. Boy, we put on a show. You see what I'm saying? We put on a show. I know in my culture, Nigerian people put on a show. When we out in parties, everybody's at a go around the car when they loading up the cooler and he calling her a crackhead and stuff like, would you move? Like, you know, that's the real them. Nobody was supposed to hear that. But when they're in front of people, they put on a show. Every single day, they're just choosing to love each other. That's it. Despite that person's misgivings and all of that.
I think like when some people say, you know, we don't believe in soulmates or anything, there's like this misconception that happens that, you know, you could make it work with anybody. And that's a whole other extreme than, you know, the soulmate thing. I think there are certain personality types, certain backgrounds, a certain number of similarities in which like you can make it work. I think there are so many people whose lists are too long, too unspecific, too unrealistic in terms of what they're looking for in their perfect person. And it becomes like this hunt to find this person that you've made up in your head to then call your soulmate. I don't think that's how that works. I think that there is like a certain base level of criteria that I think more people have than the soulmate tribe kind of alludes to that are very viable options.
So let me just say this. I don't even know how the word soulmate got in this conversation, but let me just say this too. But I've also seen people, Inaz, for the right person, dodge that whole list. That list just goes out the door for the right person. So the list can be just like, oh, she's single. She's not met anybody. There's a list. But once she meets that one person, he can not meet anything on that list. And she's like, that's the person.
Well, then I would think that list doesn't really have to do with standards. I believe it has more to do with maybe more of the superficial stuff, because I truly believe that if it was a standard and something that you know that this is what you would require from a person who you intend on marrying, and then that person does not, if you just throw the whole list away, then I don't think that was a list that was worth keeping to begin with. Because because
that's the list. I was talking about the list that she was saying that was super long, the Disney list. We're not talking about the standard. You need to have a standard list. We're talking about the extraordinary. Oh, I want to date a millionaire, and then you end up with the guy who is not even close.
But in general, it is, because sometimes you end up with somebody that you didn't necessarily initially see yourself with. And so I think a lot of times it has to do with, again, what we were talking about, choice, and then cultivating things. Like a lot of times we want things to already be in place. we want things to be set. But the best things that, especially in a relationship, is a relationship that you continually cultivate, because it goes through stages. Like when you're younger, it goes through one stage. Then when you get a little bit older, start having children, it goes through another stage. And at each one of those stages, you're going to have to learn how to cultivate. And that's what helps a marriage or a relationship, grow, and it makes it a little bit easier to stay together when you are able to be flexible and adaptable and understanding that changes are gonna come. And then what do we do when those changes happen? So it's all about, again, going back to the choosing and making sure that you cultivate that.
So when I say that there's one person, it goes back to, you only have to get it right once, right? Like, you only want to get it right once.
Mhm.
You don't want to think you got it right, and then suddenly you got 50 other options, and you want to make a different choice. Once you make the choice for that one, hold tight to that choice. Don't look other directions. Don't be tempted in other directions, because you've chosen the one that fits you. And the grass isn't always greener. Just for the record, I'm gonna go on the record and say that the grass is not always greener. I've tried it.
But you made an excellent point there. That's the whole point about choosing someone every day. I think you've heard me. It might have been this particular show where I said, "All right, you have a come to Jesus moment with yourself when you're right about the time you're about to buy the ring, and you said, this is the woman I'm going to choose. This is not a light decision. This isn't my first wife, he type of situation. It's like, am I going to be able to choose this woman every day when I'm pissed at her? Is this the woman that I can share a mature love experience with?" And the answer is usually yes. And the more important part, like AP said, that you realize you have to choose them against all your demons, all your bad habits, all of that, day after day. Because the reason why we keep using the word mature is that people have a lot of demons, and you will stray, and you will get tempted, and you'll do all of those things that come in like the first years of marriage. But that's what I believe people are seeing when they see people in love, or they see people loving each other. They're just fighting through those struggles despite their demons, and it can look and during that time, just like Mistaken said, you are learning each other through those phases, and as a family, you are developing an identity. I don't want to lose my identity. Peep this. This is the way I put it. I feel like people who have too many kids out there, like with random women, that's like having split personalities. You have too many women that can affect your mood in one day, right? I do not want that. I've paid close attention. My behavior is directly representative of the things that I did not want to happen to me, because they happen to my friends. They happen to my closest peers, right? You be in a mood, you be out with your boys, you get a phone call from your baby mother. Mood shot. Hell no. So I decided to nurture this identity, this one identity. I knew that this is where my peace would be, right? I knew this was where I would be the most emotionally stable. That's why it's not just love as love, happiness, type of thing. It's all of those things combined that I think we're seeing when we see couples do it the right way.